For years, fans of Power Origins have been asking the same question: who is Ghost's mother? Every season, every episode dropped hints, but the truth stayed hidden. Until now. Season 1 finally uncovers the woman who shaped Ghost's past, his pain, and his destiny. The moment is more than just a reveal. It changes everything we thought we knew about him. Ghost grew up in a world that seemed determined to keep him in the shadows. From the very beginning, his life was filled with absence, loss, and unanswered questions. He knew early on that something was missing, someone he could never fully remember or understand. His father, or the people around him, rarely spoke of her, leaving Ghost with a lingering emptiness that no success, no power, and no street respect could ever fill. Fans often speculated that the reason Ghost became the man he is today, so guarded, so determined, so unstoppable, was the absence of his mother. Every decision, every calculated move, seemed like a way to fill that void. To find pieces of a puzzle he didn't even know existed. Throughout his early life, Ghost displayed a mix of toughness and vulnerability that made him unforgettable. On the outside, he was calm, almost untouchable. Yet there were moments when the pain of missing someone shone through in his eyes. School, friends, even family gatherings became constant reminders of what he never had. Children around him might have had loving parents, mothers who kissed their scraped knees or praised him for small victories. But Ghost had only whispers and shadows. His mother's absence was not just a gap in his life, it was the spark that ignited the fire that would define him. Hints of his mother's identity were scattered throughout his early experiences. He would sometimes find small tokens, old letters, or fleeting photographs, each one sparking more questions than answers. Each discovery was like a faint echo from a past that was deliberately hidden from him. Friends would sometimes joke, "You've got to have a mother somewhere," and Ghost would smile, but inside, he felt the sting of the unknown. These small pieces were more than just clues, they were subtle reminders that his story was incomplete. Fans who watched closely noticed these little details, wondering if the writers would ever connect the dots. As Ghost grew older, his curiosity about his mother never faded. He learned to navigate a world full of power struggles, crime, and betrayal, but behind every calculated move was a yearning for understanding. This longing was subtle but constant, driving his choices in ways that were invisible to most people. Every relationship, every alliance, and every fight had shadows of this search woven into it. And while Season 1 began with Ghost already as a strong, determined figure, it was clear that the missing piece, the woman who gave him life, held the key to understanding him fully. This first section of his story is crucial because it sets the stage for everything to come. Without knowing the weight of his past, the reveal of his mother's identity later in the season would not carry the emotional power it does from the very first episodes of Power Origins Season 1. The writers planted subtle clues about Ghost's mother, clues that were easy to miss unless viewers were paying close attention. At first, these hints were small lines of dialogue, a fleeting look, a mysterious object, but they all pointed to a truth that had remained hidden for decades. Ghost's conversations with trusted allies often contained hidden meaning, as if he were testing the waters, trying to see if anyone could offer a piece of the puzzle. Certain words, almost casual in tone, carried weight. "She'd never let me forget," or "I can't go back there." For fans, these moments sparked speculation. Who was he talking about? What had happened that made her absence so significant? Every sentence seemed carefully chosen to build intrigue without giving away the full story. Objects connected to his past also served as quiet but powerful hints. There were scenes where Ghost would glance at old photographs, letters, or keepsakes, each blurred enough to hide faces but detailed enough to suggest importance. A locket he kept on a chain, worn but polished, appeared repeatedly, drawing viewers' attention and leaving them questioning its origin. Sometimes it was the smallest gestures that carried the most weight, a brief pause, a lingering glance, or a whispered name in a moment of anger or sorrow. These objects were not mere props. They were narrative breadcrumbs, guiding the audience toward a revelation that would change the story entirely. Secondary characters also played a role in foreshadowing Ghost's mother. Mentors, rivals, and friends often hinted at knowledge he seemed to suppress. In one episode, a close ally casually mentioned, "You're like her in more ways than you realize," a line that passed quickly in the conversation but carried layers of meaning. Ghost's reaction was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it revealed a deep, unspoken connection to a woman who had influenced his life more than anyone knew. These moments created a dual layer of storytelling. Fans could follow the surface plot while also piecing together hidden truths about his past. It was a storytelling technique that rewarded attention, patience, and careful observation. Even the setting and visuals were used cleverly to drop hints. Locations tied to Ghost's childhood appeared repeatedly, each subtly decorated with objects, shadows, or colors that suggested someone else's presence in his past. A favorite tree he climbed as a boy, a window in a home he once lived in, or a street corner where a critical event occurred. Each location became a silent narrator of his story. The animators and directors worked carefully to ensure these visuals were never accidental. They were meant to provoke thought and stir curiosity, creating a sense of anticipation for viewers who were piecing together the mystery. By mid-season, the clues became more layered, intertwined with Ghost's actions and decisions. Scenes where he seemed conflicted were often tied to memories or instincts connected to his mother. When he hesitated before making a critical choice, it wasn't just strategy at play, it was history, it was memory, and it was the weight of unanswered questions pressing on him. Fans began to notice a pattern. The show was slowly mapping out her presence without ever showing her face. This technique heightened suspense and created an emotional tension that lingered even when the focus shifted to other plot lines. Season 1's writers were masterful in balancing these hints, ensuring they never made the reveal obvious too early. Instead, they created layers of intrigue, dialogue, objects, visual cues, and character interactions all converged to suggest that Ghost's mother was not just a missing person in his life, but a pivotal force shaping the series' events. By the time the big reveal approached, fans had spent the entire season accumulating small pieces of the puzzle, making the eventual revelation both satisfying and emotionally powerful. Every subtle hint, every whispered line, and every fleeting object contributed to a story that was as much about the unseen as the visible, about questions that demanded answers and a past that demanded recognition. After an entire season of subtle hints, shadowed pasts, and unanswered questions, the moment arrives where Ghost's mother is finally revealed. It is a moment that shifts everything we thought we knew about him, casting his past in a completely new light. The reveal is not sudden or rushed. It is carefully built through the season, so when her identity finally comes to the forefront, it carries weight and meaning. Ghost's mother is introduced not as a background character, but as a force that shaped his life in ways he could barely understand. Her name, her presence, and her choices explain pieces of Ghost's behavior that had puzzled viewers all along. The reveal begins with a scene that balances tension and emotion. Objects from Ghost's past, a locket, an old letter, a photograph suddenly connect the dots in a way that is undeniable. Every clue from previous episodes, every hint in dialogue, every shadowed glance now makes sense. The audience realizes that Ghost's guarded nature, his drive, and even his moments of hesitation were shaped not just by the absence of his mother, but by the secrets surrounding her life. The show makes it clear that she was not merely missing. She had reasons, struggles, and sacrifices that influenced Ghost in profound ways. This revelation adds layers of complexity to both Ghost's character and the story itself. What makes the reveal emotionally striking is how it intertwines with Ghost's reactions. The man who has faced betrayal, danger, and loss now confronts a new truth that is deeply personal. His emotions are raw but restrained. He grapples with anger, confusion, and longing simultaneously. Viewers witness his inner struggle as he processes the reality of her identity and what it means for his understanding of himself. The series is not shy away from showing the impact of discovering that the person he had been searching for all these years is more than a memory. She is a real presence, with her own story and her own reasons for being absent. This creates a deeply human moment that resonates with audiences who have grown alongside Ghost. The reactions of other characters further heighten the tension and significance of the reveal. Allies and rivals alike respond to the news with surprise, curiosity, or even fear. For some, the knowledge of Ghost's mother changes how they view him, his motivations, and his potential future actions. Certain relationships are tested, while others are deepened, as the truth reshapes the dynamics within the story. The reveal is not just about Ghost. It has ripple effects throughout the entire narrative, altering alliances and opening